This is The Psychology of the Unconscious Processes by C.G. Jung, narrated by Tony Honickberg. Being a survey of the modern theory and method of analytical psychology. 1. The beginnings of psychoanalysis. In common with other sciences, psychology had to go through its scholastic, philosophic stage, and to some extent this has lasted on into the present time. This philosophic psychology has incurred our condemnation, in that it decides, ex cathedra, what is the nature of the soul, and whence, and how it derives its attributes. The spirit of modern scientific investigation has summarily disposed of all these fantasies, and in their place has established an exact empiric method. We owe to this our present-day experimental psychology, or psychophysiology, as the French call it. This new direction originated with Fechner, that Janus-minded spirit, who, in his remarkable Psychophysic, 1860, embarked on the mighty enterprise of introducing the physical standpoint into the conception of psychical phenomena. The whole idea of this work, and not least its astonishing mistakes, proved most fruitful in results, for Wundt, Fechner's young contemporary, carried on his work, and it is Wundt's great erudition, enormous power of work, and genius for elaborating methods of experimental research which have given to modern psychology its prevailing direction. Until quite recently, experimental psychology remained essentially academic, the first notable attempt to utilize some few, at any rate, of its innumerable experimental methods in the service of practical psychology came from the psychiatrists of the former Heidelberg school, Kraepelin, Aschaffenburg, etc. It is quite intelligible that the psychotherapists should be the first to feel the urgent need for more exact knowledge of psychic processes. Next came pedagogy, making its own demands upon psychology. Out of this has recently grown up an experimental pedagogy, and in this field Newman in Germany and Binet in France have rendered signal services. The physician, the so-called nerve specialist, has the most urgent need of psychological knowledge if he would really help his patients for neurotic disturbances, such as hysteria and all things classed as nervousness, are of psychic origin and necessarily demand psychic treatment. Cold water, light, air, electricity, magnetism, etc. are only effective temporarily, and quite often are of no use at all. They are frequently introduced into treatment in a not very commendable fashion, simply because reliance is placed upon their suggestive effect. But it is in his soul that the patient is really sick. In those most complicated and lofty functions, which we scarcely dare to include in the province of medicine, the doctor must needs, in such a case, be a psychologist, must needs understand the human soul. He cannot evade the urgent demand upon him. So he naturally turns for help to psychology, since his psychiatry textbooks have nothing to offer him. But modern experimental psychology is very far from being able to afford him any connected insight into the most vital psychic processes. That is not its aim. As far as possible, it tries to isolate those simple, elementary phenomena which border on the physiological, and then study them in an isolated state. It quite ignores the infinite variation and movement of the mental life of the individual, and accordingly its knowledge and its facts are so many isolated details, uninspired by any comprehensive idea capable of bringing them into coordination. Hence it comes about that the inquirer after the secrets of the human soul learns rather less than nothing from the experiment.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?